officially in June, and I think all of you watching know exactly what that means. That means it is Pride Month here in the United States and possibly all over the world, hopefully all over the world, because it's June, which is amazing. Not only that, it's also Father's Day. And as a result, we are creating a video to educate all of you on what it means to become a parent as a gay couple, as two men wanting to have children, have a family. And Pride Month's no better time than now to discuss that and give you all the details. And when we start talking about trying to have a family as two gay men, we might think that it's the same as it is when, a straight couple wants to have children. And to some degree it is, but using an egg donor does have some unique circumstances when two men want to have a family. And so we're going to be covering all of those details today. I've got my partner in crime here today, Dion, who's going to help me educate all of you. So thanks for being here, Dion.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, and I think this is a really important topic for so many reasons. One, the gay men don't get enough attention and education when it comes to fertility needs and starting a family, but also because of the fact that there's such unique circumstances that arise in certain ways that we need to approach their fertility journey that others just don't need to think about. And I really want to dive deeper into that today. So as we start this conversation, I know that there are men out there thinking, well, if we just want to have a family, we could just adopt, can't we? Yeah. I know yes, that's theoretically correct, but let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons about adoption for gay men and why that may or may not be the right path for them.
Yeah, no, I would love to. And this is a wonderful topic, for this month and any month. And I love that there are so many more gay men building their families now than what there used to be. But still, they are disproportionately having, fewer children than, traditional couples or female-female couples. And part of that is, as you mentioned, some of the different challenges. And with adoption as an option, thankfully, it is more of an option now for gay men. But there are still some challenges. Like for everyone, it's expensive. Can be a very long, difficult process. They could be waiting, over 2 years, very easily. And sometimes, much longer than that. There's not a lot of control over, who they will and, the baby they will end up having.
Okay.
And they can also feel like they don't have much control over the situation, or that they are being scrutinized more than maybe a traditional couple. Unfortunately, there are still even some agencies that may not even accept gay couples in the United States.
So let's kind of peel that back just a moment. So when you say it's expensive, I mean, some people might say that IVF and getting an egg donor is expensive. But when we compare the two, it's still less expensive to do egg donor with IVF than it is to do adoption.
Yes, it is still. Like you said, both are not inexpensive because of everything involved in both processes, but it is still less to go the egg donor route than the adoption route.
Okay, and then you do say it can be a difficult process and can be long. I mean, IVF's not short, but it's definitely shorter than going the adoption route, because the adoption route, you said, could take at least a year, and we know individuals and couples who have gone through adoption, it's been a year and a half, 2 years, or longer.
Right, regardless of the couple, whether they're traditional or male, or yes, exactly. That's been well over 2 years.
Okay, and then this point of lack of control over the process. So that to me is a huge advantage of egg donation and IVF, because they get to literally choose the individual that they want to use their eggs, like all the specifics and characteristics and personality traits, where you can maybe kind of select some of those things, but it's after the fact. You're like, oh, that baby looks cute, but you don't really know anything about them in the adoption process, correct?
No, definitely. And people are just excited to be having a baby in general, but like you said, there's not much control over the baby that you will have joining your family, where in the egg donor process, you get to choose the donor, and there are thousands of amazing donors out there for couples to choose from, to be able to match either physical characteristics, to themselves and their partner, or, education level or interest. They do have that. And then, of course, the biggest part being that they also get to have the genetic connection.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, to their baby, which before long ago didn't used to be an option.
Yeah.
For gay couples.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. I think the thing that you mentioned that I did not think about in the past and sounded new to me was that I didn't even think this was something that could happen. But you mentioned there are some adoption agencies that won't even work with gay men, or you alluded to that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think that was possible. So you're saying there's some agencies that just won't even work with them? Unfortunately,
in some states, that can still be the case.
Wow.
Yeah, or maybe they're deprioritizing them for various reasons, or tougher scrutiny in the application process can also happen unfairly.
Wow, that's not fair at all. So, no. I mean, to me, that sounds like so much when we're looking at the seesaw of this. So much of that leans towards moving forward with egg donation and IVF versus moving forward with adoption. Yeah. What could be, like when we're looking at the egg donation process, mm-hmm. I think of another reason why anyone would want to do it, but certainly in this situation, is that you can screen the embryos for the healthiest or the best embryos. You can also do genetic testing.
Yes.
You can't do that with adoption.
No. You're exactly right. They can get to do all the genetic testing. Both the egg donor will go through genetic testing, as well as, the dads can go through genetic testing. And then the embryos themselves, will have the genetic testing, and they'll know that they are implanting healthy embryos in the process, and that, they're going to get that healthy baby.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is the kicker right there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
We don't even have to worry, because with the adoption process, you don't know the health of the baby. You have no control over the health during the gestational period of time. So there's a lot of variables around that are not as ideal, and that are much more in control when we're mm-hmm. when you're looking at using egg donation. Okay, so if there is a couple out there that wants to move forward, can they only work with certain IVF clinics and certain egg donation clinics, or do they have the pick of the litter? Like, how does it work?
Well, that's another big benefit, really, is that, the couples are able to choose any egg donor they want from any agency. They're able to work with any fertility center that they want. So, they have a lot of options when they're moving forward with the egg donor process to create their babies and build their families the way they want.
That's wonderful. So as an agency, YourEggs is not tied to any specific IVF clinic, right? We can work with all of them, and we can connect with all of these couples wherever they are to support
Absolutely.
them. Okay.
Yeah, they can go through the journey right from their, home city where they live, and have, the embryos made there, the transfer there for, the surrogate that they end up working with, and be right there in their community. We work with agencies all across the country.
Love it. I love it. So if, to me, when I was having children with my wife, one of the special pieces for me when the kids were born was the fact that I could look at them and say, okay, well, this is my wife and this is me. And then as they grow up, like, no, it's kind of changed a little bit. Now he looks more like me, or he's got her personality or something like that.
And that stubbornness, that comes from her,
That
not
comes
me.
from her. Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
Of course.
So when you have two men, you've got to choose which sperm are going to be used in the egg donation process, or for fertilizing those eggs, right? Yeah. Can they do half and half? So if they want both genetics, can they do, okay, we've got 10 eggs, and we want to do 5 with one of us and 5 with the other?
Absolutely. And that is what most of the gay couples that are going through the process do choose to do, to take half of the half of the eggs and have them fertilized with one of their sperm, and the other half of the eggs fertilized with theirs. And then what they usually end up doing are having siblings. The first one being from one of the dads, and then the second baby will be from the sperm of the other dad. So they both get to have the opportunity.
And using the same egg donor throughout that?
That's another big benefit, is they can often use the same egg donor throughout the process, so that the children have that biological connection to each other through their mom, and then each of the dads have a biological connection to one of the babies.
Oh, that's awesome. So I think this is a great time to talk about the little promo that YourEggs has because of Pride Month. Can you talk to that a little bit and mention it a little bit?
I would love to. In celebration of Pride Month, we're running a campaign at YourEggs right now where couples will receive $1,000 savings from any full fresh cycle, and also from a split fresh cycle where they're doing 12 eggs.
12 eggs.
12 eggs, yes.
And that 12 eggs allows them theoretically, right, to split the batch in half and fertilize one with one partner's sperm and the other batch with the other partner's sperm.
Yes, that's why most male couples do choose either the full fresh cycle, so they have all of the eggs from the donor from that cycle, or they choose the split cycle with 12 eggs, so they have enough to fertilize half of the eggs with one of them and the other half from the other, and have those healthy embryos from both dads.
That's awesome. And so is this promo going on through Pride Month?
Through all of June and all of July.
And
we have
all
this
of
promo
July,
running.
Okay,
Yes.
in honor of Pride. Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I think one last point that I want to make sure that we hit on, because we haven't, and it's definitely an important piece here, is that gay men obviously biologically cannot carry their own children, so they do have to use a surrogate. And that's a given in the process. And in other IVF cycles or donor cycles, that's not necessarily the case. So can you touch on that for everyone as well?
Yes, so absolutely. That is part of the process for gay men going through this. And many of them are lucky enough to have a friend or a family member who's willing to be a surrogate for them. And then, that we can also help them with that as an agency to have a surrogate available for them.
Help them locate a surrogate if they don't have one.
Exactly, for the process. But like I said, many do end up having a friend or someone that they know, or they end up becoming friends throughout the process when they're going through it. But, what's wonderful, in addition, to what you said, is that yes, it's known they have to use a surrogate. It's also known they need to use an egg donor. So what's really beautiful is that many couples are sharing their stories online, and people have the opportunity to hear about their journeys going through it. They too tend to be more open than traditional couples using an egg donor. So there are a lot of great inspirational stories.
On YouTube, like here, and on other social media, they can find other resources to hear other success stories, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. But I'd love to share, a little story about one of our couples.
Please. Yeah. We love good stories.
Yeah. So, kind of going along with a lot of what we talked about, we had a recent couple where one of the dads was Asian and the other Caucasian with blonde hair. So they really wanted a donor that was half Asian.
Okay.
Yeah. So they did, find, and they also wanted the donor to be artistic. That was important to them, and to have a college degree or be in college. So, they did find their first donor, and then they were disappointed that didn't work out. There was a delay. She had 6 months to finish nursing school and wanted to wait till she was done. So, and they wanted to start their family as soon as possible, as we talked about, without a delay. So they found another donor, and after watching a video of her, they were very excited. She was in school studying theater, beautiful, half Asian, and available to start as soon as possible. So after she passed medical clearance, they moved forward, and they wanted to do exactly what we talked about. Both dads wanted to, create embryos with each of their sperm, so they would have the opportunity to have that connection. So they chose a full cycle to have as many eggs as possible. They were lucky to have 28 eggs from their donor.
28 eggs?
Yes.
Amazing.
So they fertilized half of them with each partner's sperm.
Wow.
Yeah, and had 4 genetically healthy embryos from one dad and 3 from the other. And so they started by implanting a boy embryo into their surrogate, who was a friend of theirs.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
And so, and then they do plan on coming back later in a couple of years for the sibling and doing a girl embryo from the other dad.
If they use all of those embryos, they can have a basketball team.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if that was important to them, but
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But it's really fun to, it's really fun to hear the stories and to see people build their family the way that they want to. So I would definitely encourage people, to look online and, find some different inspiration or, give us a call and take advantage of the offer coming on here at YourEggs for June and July in celebration of Pride Month.
Amazing. So I know we're going to put the details for that promotion down in the description below. Will you just mention it briefly one more time?
Yes.
What is it for them?
Of course. So it is $1,000 off
Okay.
from a full egg donor cycle or from a full fresh cycle or from a split fresh cycle doing 12 eggs.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining, Dion. If you all want more information about how to use an egg donor on your fertility journey, if you just have questions that you want answered or you want to take advantage of this promotion in honor of Pride Month, then please reach out to YourEggs. You can go to YourEggs.com. We'll put that link down below. We'll put the phone number down below as well, and you can reach out to us to answer all your questions and get started on your next egg donor cycle. All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining us for this episode. Appreciate you all watching. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the YouTube channel, please make sure to hit that bell and subscribe and get notified when we put out another video for all of you. And if you've got comments for us as well or questions, please go ahead and leave those down below and we'll get to those as soon as possible. And we'll see you all in the next video.